Today we are diving into the legend of Ragnar Lothbrok, one of the most iconic figures from the Viking Age. Although many people know him from the most popular TV series, Vikings, there is more to explore and discover about the true story of this Viking king who loved to raid, pillage, plunder, and make love to beautiful women. Our tale begins in the rugged lands of Scandinavia. Ragnar Lothbrok was born into a world of constant conflict and exploration. But who was Ragnar really? A king? A farmer? A myth? The truth as always lies somewhere in between. Ragnar Lothbrok is a character that exists at the intersection of history and mythology. Although the Norse history mentions his name in many folklores, sagas, and poems, describing him as a ferocious warrior who led numerous raids across the British Isles and France, many historians believe that his tales have been filled with fictional myth created to exaggerate the ferocity of Vikings. However, the association of legendary heroes such as Bjorn Ironside, Ivar the Boneless, Sigurd Snake in the Eye as the sons of Ragnar has boasted this legend enough. Because of the legendary tales of his sons, most Viking fighters at that time claimed themselves as Ragnarsons to appear formidable and intimidating warriors. Despite the popularity of the legend of Ragnar Lothbrok, there are still many unanswered questions regarding his life and legacy. Here is what we know about this legendary warrior. Born to Sigurd Ring, the king of Denmark and Sweden at the beginning of the 9th century, Ragnar was a prince and a fierce warrior. This was a time in history when wars were fought often and raiding and pillaging were another means to gain more lands and resources. Ragnar began his legendary journey by declaring a war against a Sweden king Fro, who had invaded Norway and killed its king Sigurd, Ragnar's grandfather. King Fro had banished the women of the dead king's family to brothels. To avenge his grandfather's death, Ragnar traveled to Norway with his army. Here, the banished women, dressed as men, helped Ragnar fight against the invader Fro. Fighting amongst the front ranks was a fierce warrior woman, hidden behind her manly attire, yet betrayed by her long hair loosely falling over her shoulders. Fighting fiercely, this maiden by the name of Lagertha captivated many men of Ragnar's army who marveled at her fighting skills. Impressed by her courage and skill on the battlefield, Ragnar wanted to marry Lagertha. But this shield maiden had many admirers and she was impressed by none. With a resolve to ask her hand in marriage, Ragnar arrived at her camp, yet was set upon by a bear and a hound that guarded Lagertha's camp. Fighting two beasts at once, Ragnar killed the bear with his spear and choked the hound with his bare hands. This bravery and fierceness impressed Lagertha, and she finally agreed to marry him. Together, Ragnar and Lagertha with their army raided the coastal towns of England, attacking churches and stealing riches from monasteries. Ragnar sired a son and two daughters with Lagertha. Although unlike the popular TV series, Ragnar's son with Lagertha was not Bjorn. Their son's name was Friedleif. Soon after, Ragnar returned to Denmark to fight a civil war. Here, still upset with Lagertha because of her setting her beasts upon him, Ragnar divorced her. He now took interest in a challenge set upon by the Earl of Götaland, Harald, who had a beautiful daughter named Thora. In his years of adventuring, Harald had pilfered a vulture's egg, inscribed with golden markings, and gave it as a present to Thora. When the egg hatched, there was a lindworm inside. As it grew bigger and bigger into a venomous serpent, it encircled Thora's house. Harald promised Thora's hand in marriage to anyone who would kill the serpent. Accepting the challenge, Ragnar cooked wolfskin trousers and a cowhide shirt in tar to provide him invulnerable armor. As he approached the serpent, it spat poison on him, but the venom did not penetrate his clothing, and Ragnar slew the serpent's head with his spear, winning Thora's hand in marriage. The weird attire of fur trousers gave him the nickname Lothbrok, which means shaggy trousers. Ragnar had two sons with Thora, named Eric and Agnar. However, soon after, Thora contracted an illness and died. A little while later, Ragnar met his final wife, Aslaug. Being a daughter of a legendary hero, Sigurd the Dragon Slayer, Aslaug had hidden her true identity to protect herself from her enemies, who had killed her parents. She traveled with a man called Heimer and taken the name Kraka. Heimer had built a large harp to hide Kraka inside and traveled as a poor harp player. One day, a poor peasant couple saw a glimmer of gold inside the harp. Thinking it was gold hidden within the harp, they killed Heimer. When they discovered a girl inside, They decided to keep her in their care. They dressed her in rags and smeared her with tar to protect her noble beauty. One day, as Ragnar's men were resting by a lake, they spotted Kraka bathing in the clear waters. Mesmerized by her beauty, they forgot about the food they were cooking and burnt it. When their king inquired about the burnt food, they told him about the girl they had seen in the woods that enchanted them. Refusing to believe that anyone could be more beautiful than his beloved wife Thora, Ragnar sent for the girl to come, neither dressed nor undressed, neither fasting nor eating, and neither alone nor in company. She came with a net draped around her body, biting an onion with a dog by her side. Impressed by her wit and her beauty, Ragnar married her and had 5 sons who would grow up to be legends in their own rights. Ragnar's sons with Aslaug were Bjorn Ironside, Ivar the Boneless, Sigurd Snake in the Eye, Hvitserk, and Halfdan Ragnarsson. Ragnar went on to have another affair with a woman called Ingeborg. In the legend, Ragnar fathered a son with Ingeborg. As he planned to marry her, Aslaug revealed her true identity and told him how she was born of royal blood, which made Ragnar change his decision of marrying Ingeborg. He remained married to Aslaug for the rest of his life. Together with his sons, Ragnar pillaged England and seized many territories, instilling his sons as sub-kings in all lands he captured. He often took ransoms and was offered fertile lands by foreign kings in exchange of a promise to leave their kingdoms alone. Filled with a constant urge to conquer lands and fight battles, Ragnar invaded and conquered lands of England, Scotland, Norway, and Sweden. Ragnar was also a skilled sea lord who mastered storms and attacked many lands on the British Isles. His most formidable rival on the British Isles was the King Aella of Northumbria. Among his other seaborne expeditions, Ragnar attacked and conquered Bjorn and Finnish lands. Bjorn's people used magic spells to cause foul weather in the sea that resulted in the death of many of his men. The Finnish archers also presented a great challenge, however, being the persistent warrior. Ragnar overcame these challenges and defeated both of those rivals. As he got old and his young sons started getting fame and power, Ragnar was unable to extinguish the fire within, the fire which constantly demanded blood and power. He could not bear to be an old man who sat idle watching other men take over his legend. When Ragnar got the news of his men slain at the hands of King Aella, he decided to attack Northumbria with only 2 ships. The urge to prove that he was still the king got the best of him. The powerful and might army of Aella defeated Ragnar. The old man was thrown into a snake pit to die a slow and painful death. As he was being bitten by venomous snakes, Ragnar Lothbrok's final words were, "How the little piglets would grunt if they knew how the old boar suffers." The mighty king died cold and alone, but his death did not result in vain, as his son, Ivar the Boneless, invaded England to revenge his father. He captured Aella and carved a blood eagle on his back to serve him the most brutal of Viking deaths. However, this is a tale for another episode. If you enjoyed this tale, give this video a thumbs up. And if you would like to know about the adventures of Ragnar's sons, comment below.